Aspire to a clean career, leaving no shame for descendants. Hello everyone. Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Case Stories, Cases Judged by Bao Gong. Today, I'm going to bring you a story called Dragon Cave. Once upon a time, 5 miles away from Dongjing City, there was a place called Xiangtan Village. In the village lived a man named Qiu Dun, who came from a wealthy family. After growing up, Qiu Dun married Chen, the daughter of Chen Wang from the same village. Although Chen was very beautiful, she was a rather restless woman. She knew her husband was honest and kind-hearted, but she looked down on him and had little affection for him. To the west of the village lived a broker named Wang Qi, who was handsome and a charming rogue, frequently visiting Qiu Dun's home. Qiu Dun treated Wang Qi like a brother and was very warm towards him. Because of his frequent visits to the Qiu household, Wang Qi gradually became acquainted with Chen, and the two often joked and teased each other when they met. One day, Wang Qi came to the Qiu home again. Chen was very happy to see him and welcomed him into the room to sit down. She said to Wang Qi, "My husband has gone to the farm to collect rent and won't be back for a while. Since you are here today, I have something to discuss with you. Please sit for a moment while I go to the kitchen to prepare some food and drinks. We can eat and chat together." Wang Qi, unsure of what she wanted to say, could only agree and wait comfortably. Soon, Chen brought in a feast of food and drinks, and the two began to drink together. Halfway through their drinks, Chen spoke softly to Wang Qi, saying, "I've heard that you are still unmarried and must sleep alone every night. Don't you feel lonely?" Wang Qi replied, "I haven't had good luck and haven't found a suitable wife until now. I do feel a bit lonely, but that's just fate, there's nothing to complain about." Chen smiled lightly and said, "Don't try to fool me. A man without a wife, spending the night alone, is like passing the year in solitude. What you just said was just a resigned remark, not your true feelings." At first, Wang Qi was mindful of his friendship with Qiu Dun and didn't dare to speak freely. However, after being teased by Chen, his heart was stirred. He smiled and said, "Since you feel sorry for my loneliness, are you willing to pity me today?" Chen responded, "I do feel some pity for you, but I'm afraid you won't fall in love with me." The two continued to banter for a long time, and their words became increasingly explicit, eventually leading to an intimate encounter. As people often say, once lust awakens, one becomes fearless. From that point on, the two frequently met secretly, and their affection for each other deepened. Whenever Qiu Dun was not home, Wang Qi would stay overnight in Chen's room, and Qiu Dun remained completely unaware. The servant of the Qiu family noticed the affair between Wang Qi and Chen. He wanted to inform Qiu Dun but was afraid that he might vent his anger on him. However, if he didn't say anything, he felt it would be unfair to Qiu Dun. One day, Qiu Dun was settling accounts with the tenants at the farm and stayed there for the night. In the middle of the night, he said to his servant, It's deep autumn, and the nights are really cold. I'm worried that the quilts may not be warm enough. I'm really concerned that my wife is not keeping warm enough with the quilt she has. The servant replied meaningfully. You work hard outside, alone with such a thin quilt. But the lady is living very comfortably every day, and her quilt is quite warm. Hearing this, Chio-dun felt suspicious and asked, Why do you say such things? The servant hesitated at first and didn't dare to speak, but after Chio-dun's repeated questioning, he finally revealed the close relationship between Chen and Wang Qi. After hearing this, Chio-dun could hardly wait for dawn to break so he could return home and investigate for himself. The next day, Chio-dun hurried home and saw Chen with a rosy complexion full of spirit, which made him even more suspicious. That evening, he interrogated Chen about her relationship with Wang Qi. Chen, feeling anxious, tried to cover it up and said, When you're not home, I make sure to close all the doors tightly, so how could anyone come in? How can you say such things to slander me? Chio-dun coldly replied. Don't be anxious, the truth will come to light in due time. Chen was so frightened by his words that she didn't dare to say anything further. The next morning, Chio-dun went back to work at the farm. When Wang Qi arrived at the Chio home and saw Chen's pale face, he asked her why she looked so anxious. Chen didn't hide anything and told Wang Qi that her husband had already suspected their affair. Wang Qi replied, In that case, you don't need to worry. From now on, I won't come to your house anymore, and then there won't be any issues, right? Chen sneered and said, I thought you were a man of courage, which is why I admired you. I didn't expect you to be so spineless. Since we are so deeply in love, you should consider a long-term plan. Why are you thinking of cutting ties with me now? Wang Qi asked, What do you think we should do? Without hesitation, Chen replied, There's no other way. It seems we must kill Chio-dun so we can ensure a long-lasting future together. Wang Qi thought for a while and, feeling desperate, suddenly had a bright idea. He said to Chen, Since you have such a wish, I have a plan to secretly kill Chio-dun. Chen asked, What plan? Wang Qi explained. There is a very high mountain near our village, and at the top, there is a dragon cave. Whenever smoke rises from the cave, it signifies that it's going to rain. People here go to the dragon cave every year to pray for good fortune and favorable weather. It's the season for praying now, and the villagers will be going there to pray for rain, including your husband. When he goes, I'll have a way to deal with him. Chen was very pleased and said, After we succeed, I'll take care of the rest. That night, Wang Qi stayed over, and the next day he left. The next day, many people in the village were beating drums and gongs as they headed to the mountain to pray for rain. Wang Qi invited Chio-dun to go with him. By dusk, after the prayers were finished, people gradually left, leaving only Wang Qi and Chio-dun still on the mountain. As they passed the dragon cave, Wang Qi purposely said, It seems like a dragon claw is sticking out of the cave. Chio-dun was taken aback and hurriedly leaned in to check. Wang Qi seized the opportunity to push him, and Qiu Dun lost his balance and fell into the cave. After successfully carrying out his plan, Wang Qi quickly ran back to the Qiu household and told Chen what had happened. Chen was very happy and said, "It seems you and I are truly destined to be together." From then on, Wang Qi became even more reckless in coming and going from the Qiu household, living with Chen without any pretense. When a relative came to ask Chen why she hadn't seen Qiu Dun for so long, she casually replied that he had gone far away and hadn't returned yet. However, the Qiu household servant, having learned that his master was missing, felt very anxious. Seeing Chen and Wang Qi openly acting like a couple made him even more suspicious that they had conspired to harm Qiu Dun, so he planned to go to the government to file a lawsuit. When Chen learned of this, she immediately found an excuse to send the servant away. About a month later, one day, Qiu Dun unexpectedly returned home. At that moment, Chen was drinking and chatting with Wang Qi by the stove. When they saw Qiu Dun walk in from outside, they were both terrified, thinking it was the ghost of Qiu Dun come back for revenge. Wang Qi hurriedly ran into the house, grabbed a sharp knife, and threatened to drive Qiu Dun out. Qiu Dun was heartbroken and filled with grievances that he had nowhere to voice. He had no choice but to leave his home and went out into the street, where he happened to run into the servant who had been driven away. The servant was astonished to see Qiu Dun and hugged him, asking what had happened. Qiu Dun recounted in detail how he had been pushed into the dragon cave by Wang Qi that day. The servant cried and said, "Ever since you went missing that day, I've been suspicious." Later, seeing the lady and Wang Qi meet day and night, I became even more certain that they conspired to harm you. I intended to report this to the authorities to find out your whereabouts, but she drove me out of the Qiu household. I never expected you to be so fortunate to have survived and be here today. We must go to Kaifeng to report this matter to Bao Gong and have him seek justice for you. After hearing the servant's words, Qiu Dun immediately wrote a complaint and went to the Kaifeng government to file a lawsuit. When Bao Gong took his seat, he asked Qiu Dun, "Since you say you were pushed into the dragon cave, how did you survive such a bottomless pit and return home?" Qiu Dun, tears streaming down his face, replied, "At that time, I was extremely scared, and my mind went blank. When I was pushed down, the edge of the cave was overgrown with reeds, and I slid down the reeds slowly without getting hurt. I remember that when I fell into the dragon cave, it was pitch black, but soon I seemed to see a glimmer of light. I walked forward and saw a snake coiled up inside, not moving at all. The cave was not as damp as I had imagined. Instead, it was relatively dry, and I could only find some water in a corner. After drinking the water, my thirst and hunger were significantly alleviated. I guessed that the snake was transformed from a divine dragon, so I prayed to it for protection every day. Strangely, that snake never attacked me. Instead, it grew at an astonishing speed and soon grew horns, looking just like a dragon. Then it led me to a place where I could exit the dragon cave. When I got out, I realized that around 1 month had already passed. I immediately returned home, only to find my wife drinking with Wang Qi in my house. When Wang Qi saw me, he drove me out with a knife. Later, I encountered the servant in the marketplace, and he urged me to come to you to appeal my case. After finishing his story, Qiu Dun couldn't help but cry out loud. The next day, Bao Gong began a thorough investigation of the case. He ordered constables Zhang Long and Zhao Hu to go to Qiu's house to capture Wang Qi and Chen. At this time, Wang Qi was still filled with doubts. He could not imagine that Qiu Dun had not died in the Dragon Cave, nor could he have anticipated that the Kaifeng government had already started reviewing the case. Early in the morning, the constables arrived at Qiu's house and apprehended Wang Qi and Chen, bringing them to the government office for Bao Gong to examine. In the courtroom, Bao Gong first interrogated Wang Qi. Wang Qi defended himself, saying, "That day, almost all the men in our village went to the mountain to pray. After the prayer ceremony, everyone dispersed and went home early. I didn't see Qiu Dun that day, so how could I have harmed him? He must have accidentally fallen into the Dragon Cave. Besides, the Qiu family has always maintained strict gatekeeping. I seldom interacted with Chen, so there couldn't be any secret affair between us." Wang Qi spoke cleverly, desperately trying to defend himself and evade responsibility. Bao Gong did not believe his defense and ordered the constables to return to Qiu's house to search Chen's bedroom carefully. Upon examination, the constables discovered many items related to Wang Qi and brought them back to the Kaifeng government. Faced with this evidence, Bao Gong sneered, saying, "Wang Qi, do you still dare to deny it here? You thought Qiu Dun was dead and became even more reckless, leaving so much physical evidence in Chen's room. Fortunately, Qiu Dun was not killed by you. Now both the witnesses and evidence are here. What else do you have to defend yourself with?" Bao Gong then ordered that Wang Qi be subjected to severe torture for interrogation. Wang Qi could no longer argue and had to confess the truth, admitting to his adultery with Chen and the conspiracy to harm Qiu Dun. In the end, Bao Gong sentenced Wang Qi and Chen to death, and the case was concluded. Qiu Dun returned home and reunited with his relatives and friends, who were all relieved by his miraculous experience. Alright. Today's case story, Dragon Cave, concludes here. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave your comments and share with others. See you again in the next issue.